the eastern side of the Creeper Mountain, centered in the Evi Valley, there lies the land of Prywhen, surrounded by forests and marshes, protecting this area from outsiders' invasions. The golden fields of wheat and oats had raised the children of Prywhen. Just like other tribes in the valley, the Prywhen Gryphons never knew what prestige or authority is. Freedom is what really matters. For many centuries, the land of Prywhen was long divided, separately controlled by the three principalities, Broadfeld, Kivisin, and Syria. The Prywhenians had kept their freedom for a long time, living their peaceful and simple lives. Then, the Empire had arrived. In 747 ALB, Grover I and his mighty army climbed over the Creeper Mountains, attacked and crushed the Evi Valley. From the Principality of Lushi to Zavtia Kozakis, the whole valley was forced to bow to the first Kaiser. Though many Gryphons were purged, the Prywhenians were still resisting. The blood and terror couldn't stop the calls of freedom, and not for long, Prywhen had become autonomous under the Empire's control. The Grover dynasty always took the Prywhen Gryphons as chattering clowns who sought for nothing but freedom in chaos. However, when the Prince Kihai de Kesau united the three principalities of Prywhen, things had changed. After the crowning of Prince Kihai in 853, the land of Prywhen was firstly united and become far stronger than ever before. Grover III had finally realized his mistakes, so he decided to make a retaliation, and his plan was successful. Prywhenians didn't have a nice year in 862. After the assassination of Prince Kihai, the three principalities had quickly become disunited once more. Anyway, when Grover V stepped on and the Regency Council took the power, the Empire couldn't spare more time on the Evi Valley. With this change, young Prince Closiu de Kisar of Broodfeld took his chance to become the dominatory of Kivisin and Syria in 965, and eventually become the king of Broodfeld and gain their independence in 973. The Principe Dominatory was crowned in the Grand Temple of Everiana in Kivisin by Prelate Denari. Prywhen was once more united by Closiu de Kisau, who would later name this land the Kingdom of Broodfeld. Over decades, Prywhen, or the Kingdom of Broodfeld, had become the rice basket of Gryphonia. While exporting food to nations like Wingbody or Carthage, Broodfeld is stepping towards the modernization. The future looked bright, until the Great Famine in 995. A disease called rice blight has swept over the fields of Prywhen. Countless farmers failed to harvest, and when every Gryphon was looking for something to eat, the food that should have been in the emergency stores had been sold abroad. The Great Famine almost killed 1/5 of the population, and the country was suffering from an economic crisis. To save Broodfeld, King Closiu had signed the emergency constitution in 1001. Though many peasants were saying the king was signing the constitution of dictatorship, Closiu had saved the nation from collapsing. Unfortunately, it did not take long for the situation to get even worse. In 1003, an assassination attempt was made on Closiu. While the king survived from the assassin, his beloved wife was murdered. It changed everything. The king desperately blamed the communists for the attempt and started to arrest them. The Great Famine and the king's actions had led to the rise of communism in the rural areas. The hungry and poor peasants were inspired by Stalingrad and formed the Gryphon Liberation Army to resist and survive. Prywhen, now the birthplace of Gryphonian communism, was about to change. With the efforts made by their leader Philip Redglad, the GLA had quickly gained enough power to fight against the king, and in 1005 the peasants couldn't suffer anymore and started an uprising. Lines were drawn, swords exchanged, and civil war had begun. Brothers against brothers, strangers killed strangers. Blood and tears had shattered Prywhen. The red soils were burnt into ashes, and cities were swallowed by the fire. The white killed red, and red killed the white. Griffons took down griffons. There was no sign of peace.